Overwatch 2 for about a year now. I played a lot back in high school.
Yep.
Um, that I got back into it about last year, and I wanted
Okay.
to get better because I was a bronze Reinhardt player, and I wanted to figure out how to play the game.
Sure.
So I started looking up things. I found some coaches on YouTube
Sure.
that were just putting out their free stuff. I first found Awkward, and
Yep.
decided
Awesome.
I want to try Brig because it's close enough to Reinhardt. Then I decided support wasn't for me, so I landed on Monkey, and I saw you, and I saw Boger, and I saw Emong and Flats, and I'm like, hey, this looks like fun. So I've been watching your the coaching sessions on Spilo too, or Spilo coaching, I guess.
Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
yeah,
Okay.
so I
Sick.
was like, that's how I got interested.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. Awesome. Good to hear. Now, you said that you were a bronze. When was the last time that you were in bronze?
Probably about a year ago when I started playing Overwatch 2.
Okay. So, what got you back into it? Just I want to try it again. I played it. You used to play it. Enjoyed it. Want to kind of go down that road again, or something else?
Yeah, that's about it right there.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. So mainly Winston, sometimes Sigma seems fine. And in terms of goals for you, long term, you're saying learn how to learn the game, figuring out what works, why it works, how to replicate it consistently. So more of just like enjoying the improvement process and the strategic process. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then short term, learning how to play into Hog, Nog, or whatever else stands there and doesn't die, which is very understandable, right? Like Monkey is definitely a tricky one. Now, I'm curious, no pun intended, as you said earlier. Why did you land on Monkey? What did you tried Reinhardt, or you were a Reinhardt player? What are the roles you said I didn't enjoy support, but what is it about Monkey that's kind of stood out to you that you've enjoyed so much?
um back in Overwatch 1, I th- I I'd watch all the Overwatch League stuff. I was bronze.
Yes.
I couldn't tell that what they were doing was different from me. But um I always like enjoyed watching Winston and like the
Yep.
movement and the capability they had to just control the game.
Mm-hmm.
And like coming into Overwatch 2, like seeing how much strategy that Winston needed in order to do things. And I tried Winston back in Overwatch 1. I just wasn't good at it. And
Yep.
I was too busy with other things to really give it a go.
Of
But
course.
like coming back, I was like, Reinhardt's not working for me. I have too many bad habits, and I just want to start something fresh. So I'm like, hey, this Winston guy, let's try that
Sure. How did the
because that
process
looked cool.
go? Because you've definitely improved significantly.
Yes, I have. Um, I started out feeding a lot. I've since started feeding less.
Mm.
Um, I figured out that the bubble is probably a good cooldown to work around.
Yep.
And the primal has been a lot of fun to try and figure out.
Yep. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. So you've figured out how to feed less, how to use your bubble a little bit more,
Yes.
primal, and so on. So when you talk about like feeding less, what do you mean exactly? Like what specific skills have improved? Things that you've become aware of since from bronze to gold.
I think the first thing that I really figured out is, um, you call it cheating.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The cheating in a dive
Mm-hmm.
where you just jump backline and you don't set up or anything. Um, once I figured, sorry,
That's fine.
um, once I figured that was a thing, I'm like, hey, let's try that. And I implemented it poorly, but it worked a little bit, and I started feeding less because I'm not jumping in 1v4 all the time.
Excellent. Okay. Sounds good. And you're playing Overwatch around 2 to 3 hours a day. Is that mostly ranked, quick play, friends, solo queue? Do you warm up, and so on?
Um, so it's I played mostly with friends upon writing that thing.
Mm-hmm.
I play with my brother a lot. He's Masters Kiriko one trick that I play with in quick play.
Yep.
And I have a couple other friends that I play with too.
Okay. Excellent.
Um, but I've started playing more ranked. I started with about 3 games a day, and I've gotten up to 5. If I go more than 5, I get too tired and I can't
Yep.
play well. So
That seems like a good limit. And I
I do
assume you don't.
warm up
Yeah.
about
Go ahead.
2, 3, 4 minutes. That's
What
about it.
What do you use for warm up?
I go into what's it, the Vaxta, and I just pick
Yep.
Winston and just do either primal mechanics or just practice on jumping on a target.
Okay. Perfect. Seems good. 5 games a day. Now, you don't specify any ranked goals. You just seem to be more about like, I just want to understand and learn the game a little bit better.
pretty much.
Okay.
I, since I play with my brother in quick play, I'm not playing against other gold people in quick play. I'm playing
Of course.
against diamond or masters people in quick play because he
I
plays with.
imagine that's a little overwhelming at times.
It is. So
Okay.
I just want to get better at the game so I can have a better time playing with him, better
Sure.
time playing with my friends, and like
Sure. Okay.
get better
Makes
at
sense.
ranked.
Makes sense. So, a lot more like strategic mindset, which makes sense given your hero pool. I mean, even being attracted to something like Reinhardt initially is like, pretty strategic level character, and then Winston and so on, and just learning more about like how the game ticks, how the game works. When you say some of those things, you've clearly put some time into studying the game. You've watched Overwatch League. You have watched a lot of my sessions. You've watched some awkward stuff and a lot of other stuff as well, I'm sure. Where do you feel like your blind spots are? And not necessarily just in terms of your own gameplay, but your general understanding of the game. Or is it more like, I don't know what my blind spots are because they're blind?
Um, I think I know what my blind spots are.
Okay.
Obviously cooldown management. The bubble, I've gotten better with bubble, but bubble is
Sure.
it's still a work in progress.
Sure.
The other thing is respecting the enemy team and respecting the map geometry.
Okay.
Um, Playing with my brother in higher levels than I did, the tempo that I learned on how to go in with my team and with my cooldowns was mostly blind. And it's
Okay.
been a lot of work to try and get it to be thoughtful rather than just like, I think we go now and I hit the buttons and go.
Okay. Okay. So for you, it's not just like it's like there's a legitimate. I'm not sure exactly how to do this. Not like I'm not good at it, but like I'm also just don't know what to do exactly.
There was that, yes.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. I'm looking for things not just like skills that you're not good at, but also like things that you don't quite understand, so that we can kind of analyze though.
Space has been like the biggest thing in my mind. Like, how do you hold space or how do you give space and how do you like take space? Because with Winston, since you can't just go in, kill five every fight,
Yep.
like it's a lot of just controlling the space and making it so my team can pop off.
Okay. Okay. Well, we could talk a great deal about space then. We'll talk exactly about the theory of it and then how to apply it, and we'll simplify it down as well to kind of smooth that process out. Now, you also point in your form in terms of what's holding you back, maybe not something that you don't fully understand, but just something that you're struggling with is I have a hard time knowing how to deal with teammates being dumb slash flaming me and the enemy team counter swapping on cooldown. Now, talk to
Yes.
me about that a little bit more in detail.
So, I've seen it so many times. I'll try to hold like the Eichenwald choke
Mm-hmm.
or the Midtown choke, the
Yep.
first point choke.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And my teammates don't want to hold it. They want to go hold the corner that's up in front of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it comes down to me in the predicament. Do I stay and try to hold the choke? Or do I
Mm-hmm.
push up and try to hold the corner with them?
Right.
And if I stay to hold the choke, they feed, they die because they don't have a tank in front of them.
Yep.
And then we're down a player for the fight that's going to happen at the choke. But
Yep.
if I could push up, it's a lot more volatile, and I'm not sure I can hold it very well.
Right. That's the key thing. Let me kind of give you a good example. So, uh, I was talking about this with my wife actually, like last night. We were talking about how, like, especially when we were really, really, really early in marriage, like we were super, super poor, and we were forced with like food to be like super creative for like the limited resources, the limited money we had for like the weekly budget, right? And
Yep.
so what ended up happening is we got pretty good at like trying new things and figuring some things out. So as our food budget grew to like a normal level, we were felt kind of spoiled because we were so good at making things work with so little. And so that's just kind of expanded over time, right? And I think like the analogy here is that your teammates are not holding where you want to hold. So you're going to be forced to improvise. You're going to be forced to really study the game, not just from, oh, this is a good spot for Winston. Well, what if they don't want to hold in that good spot? You're forced to figure out what's a good spot for Winston on that first corner.
Okay.
And so you're not just forced to, oh, I have to learn additional steps. You're really forced to learn the nuances of Winston when the engagement isn't perfect. Because the reality of the situation is there's going to be a lot of maps, a lot of chokes, and a lot of points where there isn't going to be that first point high ground.
Right.
You're going to have to know, okay, when I don't have an optimal high ground, when my teammate's holding a choke, where does Winston provide value?
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? So let's actually do that right now. Like I don't want to just like talk theory here. I want to actually practice that. So let me pull up a custom game.
Okay.
and you're going to tell me where Winston should hold. And you're going to have to prove that you understand Winston beyond just go high ground drop on enemies, right? And if you don't know, like, remember, like, my point here is that I always say this, but I'm going to ask you questions you do not know the answer to on purpose, because you will have to apply what you already know and think the problem through. If you already knew the answer to the question's not worth asking, usually. So let's say here, you want to hold here, I assume.
Yeah.
But where's your teammate holding? They're holding here?
That corner right there, yeah.
Okay, so
Or
then...
even a corner further up if they're crazy.
So what makes Winston special? What are Winston's strengths compared to other tanks?
When he has uptime, he's really hard to kill.
Okay, so let's stop right there. So really, really high spike of value around bubble, right? Yes. Like maybe the strongest spike. Like even the thing with Winston is honestly, like even a frontline trade with bubble, if you can get a nice juicy bubble, it's not terrible, right? It's not terrible. And sometimes you'll see this, okay? Let's keep going. What else is unique about Winston? The second thing.
He's really good at distracting and dealing with squishies.
Okay, I want you to think about his kit. He has bubble. What is the other thing that he have?
His jump.
His jump. Okay, so what is that? How do you use that? What does that allow you to do?
It either allows you to engage with some good damage or disengage and get away.
So you give me a tool to use jump on this corner here and to get value.
This corner here?
On this corner here. If this is where your team is holding, I'm not saying that you have to be here necessarily, but what do you do? How do you set up?
I can sit on top of the bridge or on that corner high ground to the left.
So like here? Or corner? Like
behind you.
Behind you. Oh, here.
Yeah.
But again, that's not where your team is holding.
That's true.
So it's useless.
Okay.
I appreciate the temp, but right, not so good. Use your jump.
Use my jump.
Or indirectly use your jump, right?
Indirectly use my jump. I mean,
be creative. Be creative. Just start spitballing stuff, even if it's stupid.
Okay. If I can't use either of those spaces, then I can try chilling in that corner that you showed me at the beginning with the
like here.
Underneath. Yeah, I can see where they are and wait for them to come up a little bit and then jump in.
So jump in here. Okay, keep going. Go even crazier.
I could walk around through the mega, and I could the other mega.
Oh, the other mega. Okay. So you're gonna walk around through here.
I could.
Is this using your bubble? Is this using your jump?
They'd be at the corner, or they'd be either of the corners. I could jump them from there, or
you could shoot bubble backline cleave here and then jump out.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna smoke a little more for you. You could do the same thing here. And if you want to go, it might work. It might work. And you want to go even like really, really basic. If your team is holding the corner here, remember we talked about the two strengths of Winston. It's the mobility and it's the really powerful burst of value. If you really, really, really don't feel it, you can just sit on the corner here and bubble off as they push in.
Mm-hmm.
You get nice cleave. You go armor damage goes through armor. You got a really good bubble. After that bubble's broken, yeah, you're going to need to disengage and just kind of do nothing, right? But it's something. It's something. Your team will value off of that. It's the best tank cooldown in the game. So, yeah. That's it. Better than sitting here and watching them die, right? Even here, like having a little bit of the angle, right? Or and there's other options, like I said, as well. So solve it. So you're forced to kind of study things. So when I don't have the high ground drop, I either go crazy with the flanks or I find a really good corner, like even just like a little bit of an off angle, right? Like just a little bit here, and get a really nice, juicy frontline trade. It's okay. It's not bad. That's it. And so you're forced to kind of like learn Winston because you're going to have a lot of situations like this where there isn't going to be high ground. There's only going to be stupid flanks or a really good corner to find. And you're going to have to decide which one makes the most sense in the situation.
Okay.
So your gold teammates are making you learn the game, because this is kind of stuff will happen in Grandmaster. There will be not necessarily bad teammates, but there will be people like points on the map, like Shambali Monastery third point. You get what I'm saying? Like there's not exactly a lot of high ground there. So you're going to have to, or Circuit Royale. How do you play Winston on Circuit Royale? You might play a Sigma, but like let's say you had to play Winston on first point. How would you make it work? Well, you do exactly what we're talking about here.
Yep.
So that's your limitation there. Like your limitation is to be able to not play Winston the wrong way. Don't play Winston like a Reinhardt, But okay, I'm forced to find value here, and this is where you really level up your play. So thank your teammates. Now, the other problem you mentioned is the counter swapping. And really the answer is the same. You're forced to learn Winston. Because Malga Roadhog, if you bubble them off in this corner, still scary, but it's also scary for them too. Big scary for them. You understand? Totally split, totally isolated. You can deny their ability to hook you. You can deny Malgus lifesteal. You'll trade Cardiac 100% and probably win the HP trade even then. And then another thing too as well is that Malga Roadhog probably will not contest you as easily on flanks. A lot of your value just comes from forcing their CDs, but the question is how do you force their CDs and still live? And again, that's where your creativity comes into play.
Okay.
I'm not going to say that it is necessarily the most dopamine-inducing thing in the history of the universe, but it's useful. But it's useful and it's strategic. And I think as well, the Winston players are made by your ability to find satisfaction out of outsmarting the enemy team, even if they don't know it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think I do.
If you force Cardiac and Bastion turret form, and Ana throws Sleep Dart, and they're all just and you just jump out, and you have done a whopping 600 or not even 60 damage, you don't necessarily feel good, and then the enemy team dies, and they're like, "Why are we dying?" Because they used everything on you, and you just laughed. Your teammates might not even know it. Doesn't matter. You'll win. You'll win.
As long as you get out.
As long as you get out. You get out and you do it again. You get out, you do it again. It's if you can find satisfaction through being of a superior intellect, then you're going to win games. Now, if that's not always satisfying, but that's the goal. That's the goal. Make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Now, obviously easier said than done, but I challenge you to be able to think creatively. Now, if your teammates are flaming you and you're trying to adapt and things are kind of going poorly because you're experimenting, that's why I don't always join voice. That's why, you may not be in team chat depending on the situation, but, you do you. You do you. That's it.
Just working to figure out the strategy and
that's it. That's it. That's it. Now, I will say that there is a swap rule that I call the 3.5 rule. If you're on a really bad map and playing versus a hard counter, like let's say a Bastion, or a couple of soft counters, like let's say a Malga, a Cassidy Brig, whatever, and maybe and it's on a really flat map, maybe consider swapping. But even then, I think it's up to you. It's really your call.
That's something that I've had problems with. Is like what is it, Oasis University or
Yes,
Moa Volcano,
yes,
where it's like I'm doing well enough on Winston, and then I see after first fight there's suddenly a Junker Queen and a Reaper and a Junkrat and a
yes,
all the stuff, and suddenly I'm like, I don't know if I can do this on Winston, and I don't think Sigma's gonna do great here either.
But yeah, I understand. Sigma is better, right? Sigma is better, and then I would still say it's more of a skill issue for you, frankly. But yeah, I think there's going to be a couple, but that's like 1 point, or 2 points on a Koth map. You'll be fine. And frankly, sometimes Winston players will rise to the challenge. I often find myself playing my better games on Winston versus the more counters because it forced me to really, really lock in. I distinctly remember playing one of my best ranked games ever on Winston versus full counters on Oasis on University. I made them look stupid, but it's because it was so hard. You had to give it like a 100% effort, and it was really easy for them to just focus me and try and just be really lazy with their cooldowns, and something to consider. Mm-hmm. Something to consider. Okay. It's not a skill issue if you struggle. It is definitely a counter comp issue, and something that I hope that Overwatch continues to improve, and I think that they will, based off of what Alec Dawson has talked about. But in the meantime, give it a shot.
I think I'll try.
Okay. Now, how to do that and exactly what we do that, and we can talk about space here. Let's jump into some gameplay here. Do you have a code?
Oh yeah. Let's see. I didn't know what kind of code you wanted, so I have 3.
Yep.
One of them is a Nepal game. We started very well, where I was diving with a teammate and doing well, and then we just got rolled points 2 and 3.
Okay.
There's an Ilios game where we were going into where we were getting full held by a Doomfist comp. I thought I played all right, but we still lost. And then a Colosseo game where it was back and forth, and there was some good and there's some bad. And
I would say let's go with the one where you feel like you have the most questions or felt most confused about what to do, so that we can teach as well as coach, if that makes sense.
Okay. Then we'll go with the Ilios game. I'll just paste it in chat.
Got it? Now, Ilios is Ilios is kind of a hit or miss map for Winston, right? You got a couple of good points. You got one that's pretty rough in ruins. So we'll have to see. Any questions before we jump in? Literally.
Let's see. Do. Yeah, when should I have more general questions, I think.
Go for it.
So just synergy with the team. Like we talked a little bit about when the teammate is not playing where I want to play and it's playing where they want to play.
Mm-hmm.
But let's suppose that my teammate is trying to play with me and they want to do general pressure or setup, or they want to commit for a dive or a kill on the front line. And I have a different idea from what I see.
I'm going to simplify things for you. Jump into Paint. Click on my profile picture because I restarted my stream elsewhere, and then click over to the stream.
Let's see. Click on your profile picture and then stream, Spylo.
You should be looking for Paint. Microsoft Paint. So at the top of the Discord call.
Top of the Discord call.
Mm-hmm. You'll click on my picture and then click over. It'll say like watch stream or whatever.
There it is. Okay, there we
Got
go.
it.
Sorry,
It's a little awkward. No problem. Okay, this is your backline teammate being passive. He wants to play over here. This is your proactive teammate. He's trying to help you along with you. Here's what you do. You're going to go back and you're going to play an angle where this guy can help. Okay?
Okay.
This guy should follow, right? Because he's clearly paying attention to what you're doing, correct?
Yeah.
If that situation is not the case, and you have a teammate feeding here, and you have a teammate feeding back here, and you have to choose which one do you play around, you're going to choose whatever one you like your position best. Think selfishly. So if I say, I have a guy that's way in too deep, he's fighting right now, I don't like what's going on, but man, I really like, this is where I would want to fight if I could choose, go here. If you go, this guy's feeding, he's way too far, that area is flat, it's no good for me, I want to play back here, then play back here with this guy. So basically, you always want to try to anchor yourself to the majority of your team or to the slow kid, right? The kid that's like, he's in a bad position, he's too far forward or too far back, whatever. But if you have two feeding teammates that are going in complete opposite extremes, way passive, way too far forward, choose the one that complements your position the best. Does that make sense?
That sounds good.
Okay. And generally, the peer pressure of if this guy feeds and refuses to, that he's going to feed and he's going to adjust. Or if you're pushing up here because you like this position better, this guy will eventually push forward because he's just going to sit there and go, I'm doing literally nothing. I'm going to walk forward. Generally, that's the case most of the time. But fight with the majority of your team, and when there's a 50-50 split, just choose the one that you like the best.
Okay. And then on the opposite side, which I think is expressed more in this code,
Okay.
I want to go in. I do something. My team registers it slower than I do, or they have a different plan than I do.
Yep.
And I go in, do some pressure, and then as I'm coming off of my cycle, they want to go in.
Your
And
problem.
Suddenly I'm like...
Your problem. It should, whenever you do pressure, your team should not be able to choose about whether they want to follow up or not. It should happen. It should just happen automatically.
Okay.
Even if it's just shooting a Rhine shield, right? Like it should be, they would literally have to turn off their monitors to not be able to follow up off of your dive.
Okay.
You don't need them to shoot the same target. You don't need them to heal you. You don't need to even see you or who you're shooting. They just need to see something, some sort of follow up, some sort of value, because any attention that's gone to you is attention taken away from whatever they see, which then isolates that target. And that's your goal anyway.
Okay.
Now, if
That's
they're,
good to know.
the only
I'll try
thing,
playing around with that.
yeah, the only thing that occasionally will be frustrating, this drives me nuts whenever I'm playing tank, is if we get a man advantage, like 2 or 3 man advantage, and I want to walk forward, and so I assume that we're pushing forward, and so I try to go kill the last 1 or 2 guys, I get isolated and I get killed, and I turn around, there's 5 people on cart, right? That annoys me, but it's still something that you can play around, because you can be like, oh, we should walk forward, wait, we're not walking forward, crap, I have to stay. But that's like one of the few exceptions. Most of the time, the problem is you. The problem is you.
Got it. Just hold the S key, watch my team the entire time.
Right. Check your team's, well, not your time, right, yeah, check your team's positioning exactly before you take an action, because You know, that's just a good skill, period, because even as you get into higher ranks where people are going to be playing, quote unquote, where they should and push up when they should and back up where they should, you're going to be playing with so many different style of compositions. You'll be playing with Genji Tracer, you'll be playing with Ashes Zenyatta, you'll be playing with Widowmaker Sombra. And so where you fight is always going to change, right? Now, your teammates might want to fight around where it's best for you, but you might also want to fight around what's best for your Widow or what's best for your Mei, right? So you're going to need to be constantly adjusting, like depending on your composition. And this applies at the professional level as well. You know, you don't just, everyone plays around the Winston. It really is a give and take, right, relationship. So you need to always get in the habit of checking your team's position no matter what rank you are.
Okay. Sounds good.
Any other questions?
Let's see. Ulting. When do you ult? That's the last question.
Yep, that's fine. Okay, so let's put it this way. You have a good engage, then you ult.
Okay.
That's it. You extend your life from a good engage. You never, if you can avoid it, never do a bad engage into an ultimate because, oh, I can get away with it. No. The rule, you don't use a get out of jail free card on a parking ticket, okay? You rob banks. So you get a good engage, maybe a little greedy, but a good engage, and then you keep going with your primal rage. That's the rule. 95% of the time. Okay. 95% of the time. And what a good engage is, you know, setup on backline, you know, with your team can follow up. There's no, oh, I have primal, I can go in just by myself. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Even the best ones in the world should never do that. Never.
Okay.
Any others?
I think that was it.
Okay. Let me stop stream, and then we'll do the same thing of clicking my profile picture at the top and tabbing over back to Overwatch.
I think I got it.
All set?
Yep.
Okay. Let's say how you do. I'm not going to sit here and drill you here. We're going to see exactly what your engage looks like. So space is this. Look at the positions that your Echo, Torbjorn, Ana, and Kiriko have. Do you think they're very happy with the sightlines that they have right now?
I don't think Ana's probably very happy, but
she's super far away.
Yeah, I think
Kiriko. You see, even Kiriko here, though, right? Look at how little she can see.
Okay.
You see this? Look at how little your Torbjorn can see. Your Echo's got pretty good space, but that's mostly based off the fact that she is just the mobility to take it. So the problem here is that your team doesn't have space. That's what space means. They can't see. They don't like these positions. They don't like this cover or this lack of cover. They can't see point. This is space. So your job here is to find pressure or damage onto a target, preferably a squishy, but anything that you could trade HP favorably so that your supports and DPS can walk forward, because these guys are not all going to kill these guys. That's why they're scared to walk forward, because Tracer's here and Doomfist is here and Lucio's here. That's why they're scared. You understand? Mm-hmm. So you need to pose a threat or a potential threat. Like, I'm not engaging you yet, but I might. You better watch out. And so that forces space. So what should you do? Let's give you imperfect information here. What do you see?
I saw Doomfist and Tracer. Just
why did you jump Tracer? You never jumped Tracer, right? Right. Well, maybe, you know. Were you going to take damage for jumping Tracer? Who can see you when you jump Tracer?
Most of their team, probably.
I disagree, actually. I disagree. You think I'm baiting you? Because if you think about it, actually, Pharah doesn't really have a great angle on you. Ana doesn't have a great angle on you, and even Lucio doesn't have a great angle. It's because you kind of jumped to cover. You kind of see you jumped over to this corner here.
Yeah. So
you got a recall for jump, and look at your HP.
Nothing.
And that's space, because now how does a Tracer have to position?
Yeah, it's a position a lot more conservatively.
So then it takes pressure off of your team, a little bit of pressure, so that your team can walk forward. And the best part about it is you've not used bubble. So now, what can you do taking space now? So now you're like, okay, I could jump Tracer, I could go Lucio, I could go Ana. What do you think here?
I could probably go Ana because I've got the bubble and she probably still has sleep there.
Yep, you have HP, you have bubble. This is how we're going to create space. So I imagine that you're probably going to make this jump, and we're going to demonstrate exactly how space works right here. Good attempt with the bubble there. I mean, obviously, I think that's a little bit unfortunate, but you see, this is how space works. Look at where your Ana is now. Now, this fight is super chaotic, but now they're down there Ana. That was good. Your only problem here is I want you to be very deliberate with exactly where you're going next. Sure. And I think that Ana could have died even sooner. I think that this fight from you was fairly reasonable. You jumped targets. You played cover well. You played around your bubble. You jumped out conservatively when you didn't have bubble. And this was all right. Now, what does this allow you to do? Why would you jump here?
Because I want to see places where they are and have places where I can jump to.
Okay. Now, this is the really important part, because you're going to have times here where a highly mobile tank is going to push you here. Let's say the Diva, Reaper, whatever else. They had a Diva, Reaper, everyone just tries to kill you while you're setting up. Everyone jumps you while you're trying to set up. Do you use bubble?
I mean, if you want to stay there, then yes, but otherwise, probably not.
What if they put a lot of damage in on you? Like I said, what about that Diva Reaper?
Well,
Your job is to create space. So like, let's say that they're running Diva Reaper and I don't know, even a Mercy, something, right? And everybody kind of shifts their attention over to get to you here. And your team is here. Have you created space?
indirectly, yeah.
Yes. Yes, you have. You've pulled people out of the choke to go chase you over here. So you know what? If you need the bubble, use the bubble. That's it.
Okay.
That's it. If you're getting a good trade, if you're forcing a lot of resources and you need to preserve your HP, use your bubble. But this is your moment of failure, actually, because while the setup makes a lot of sense, what's wrong?
My team isn't anywhere where they can,
Right. So you are making space right now,
but it's useless.
but it's useless. That's the thing. You just needed to wait literally 2 seconds, I think. 1, 2, this is fine. This would have been fine. But the problem here is that you're already missing your HP. A lot of it. And your armor as well. Nice landing. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I think so.
You think so?
Well, I can't implement it right now, but
Right.
in theory,
Okay, but in theory, okay. This is just simply, don't just stand here and take damage. But also, again, it's again a question of timing. So you're going to get your bubble forest. You're going to disengage. Now what should you do? Your team is clearly here. Your team is clearly ready to take space. Now what? What do you got?
well, I don't have bubble yet, so probably jump to a spot where
Set up.
set up.
Set up safely. Try to avoid, running into Doomfist or Tracer, but you need to start setting up. So where would you set up?
I could probably set up top right or top left.
Do it again. Top right. You got it. Or top left. Maybe a little bit exposed, but something to consider. Didn't quite have bubble, but I think you were assuming that they wouldn't punish you. Now, this is the real moment of truth here, right? You got to ask yourself, is this the most pressure that you can put out right now?
I'm gonna have a hard time getting that pharmacy, but I could try. I could go try to smack Lucio, but I don't think I know where he is.
See, this is the thing. This is the thing. You're looking at this now and you're realizing there's not really a lot of good options for you. And I agree. But the problem is you did not even check. You understand? So like if you look here, there's you don't even look. You don't even know where people are. You don't even know the situation that they're in. And I think given what we have here, I think this seems perfectly reasonable. But you don't get credit for the result. You get credit for the intention. And the intention was not good here. You needed to check first, and then if you go, okay, there's nothing I can really jump, let's just jump and bubble off this Doomfist, put some pressure. That's fine. That's fine. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Okay. Sure. Next target. Where am I going to create space? See, even this, is this creating space? Just sitting on point.
So, probably.
Yeah, right? There's resources that would be holding chokes being put on you. And you have your bubble. And look at poor Doomfist's HP. And look at your HP. Right?
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Do you like how you created space here? I do. So then, do you like this Primal Rage?
I think it's all right.
I think it's all right too. It's a good engage. Let's keep going. The only thing I want you to do here is, there you go, lock onto a target. Even if you're not good enough to consistently kill it, there it is. Lock onto a target. Well done. I don't like the bubble. Really don't like the
I
bubble.
don't like it either, looking at it now.
You need damage here.
much.
You need damage here. Or even isolating heals is you need to be very specific and deliberate of when that's good or not. Because there needs to be no hesitation on killing this Pharah, or no hesitation in killing this Doomfist. And this is disastrous, right? That should have been a dead Pharah and a living Brig. Okay, let's keep going. Any questions?
How could I have played the Pharah to make Pharah dead better?
So, how are you going to create space or do damage with bubble here? What do you do?
Assuming I now have bubble, even though I just wasted
Yep,
it right there.
assuming you have bubble right here.
I could probably just wait with Brig,
Yep.
and
Yep.
they won't just retake point. So
Yep. So you sit here and you bubble Brig and you just zap Doomfist, or you sit here, bubble Brig, and zap the Pharah, right? The question is not even necessarily the placement of the bubble here. It's obviously just the timing of, like, it would have lasted a little bit longer, and you would have also been there to kind of body block and finish this Pharah off, who would not have been able to kill. Because look at where the Pharah got to kill the Brig, right? That's Christmas for you, right? If you're there, your Pharah lives. Or your Brigitte, excuse me, lives. Okay. Creating space. Doomfist is looking at you. Again, it's like another one of those little things here where you need to avoid taking so much damage here. Do you see this? 2 direct rockets to the face before you engage. It's okay to scout here, but you need to be quick. Okay, I see Pharah. I duck behind cover, and I make my decision quickly. Does that make sense? Because going here,
rather than looking at her for 10 years.
Right. So here you could either do one of two things. You could either, if she keeps looking at you, then maybe you need to bubble and then continue to zap. Or if she just looks away.
She just ran away.
If she just runs away, right? So then you can say bubble and just walk in here, and then we're cooking. It's a lot of little things right now, but they're important. Okay, so far, what things do you think you need to be doing better? What are some habits, skills, etc. that need to be cleaned up?
Looking at where people are.
That's simple. Where is my team prior to taking space? What else?
Let's see. Not taking damage as much before I engage.
Right. No unnecessary damage, right? That might even compromise your alternate fire, depending on the target, right? That's okay.
True.
What else?
Sorry, I'm still trying to think through everything.
I know. That's fine. We talked about a lot of little things.
Finding where I can sit and soak up the attention for my teammates.
Where's your next engage?
Right.
Where's my next engage? It's with Winston, when you have mobility, you have opportunity, you have great power, and with great power comes great responsibility, literally, because the character is designed assuming that you're going to make the right choice. Characters that have fewer choices, like Orisa, are easier to play because there are fewer choices. But when you have more choices, you have more value ceiling, but if you make the wrong choice, you're going to screw up.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, you have the responsibility to make the right choice with the information that you have. What's the right choice? Where do you create space? There's not exactly one clear answer here, but what do you think?
I could keep holding Doomfist's attention while my team tries to deal with the Lucio Pharah.
You could. Here's a question. If you were to initiate on this Doomfist, could you do something from a different angle? Can you use your mobility here?
I could probably jump out onto the platform just to the left, or I could jump further in and try to get behind them on the point.
Now, let's say if you were to jump on the platform here, how does that create more space than bubbling for your team and walking into the Doomfist?
Because it means that more people are looking at me than just the Doomfist.
So more people, but also more than that. If I slap you upside the head, right in front of your face, where are your eyes? If I'm right in front of you, slapping you in the face?
I don't know.
You're just looking right at me, right? Right? But if I come behind you and I smack you upside the head, you're going to turn around.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So not only are you going to bubble for your team in terms of the placement, but if you smack the Doomfist in the back of the head, what's the Doomfist going to do?
It's probably going to turn around and...
And what's the Torbjorn going to do, and the Baptiste going to do, and the Anna going to do as a result of that?
Probably look at the guy that smacked the Doomfist in the backside of the head.
Right. And for your team, you smacking him in the head and getting him to turn around makes it easier for them to walk forward and get a better position. That's creating space.
Okay.
So not just walking into the enemy and bubbling, but then sneaking behind them so that they have to turn around and back up, and then your team fills the void.
Okay.
It's a more effective way of doing exactly what you're doing right here. You see? This Doomfist is creating space. Do you see how he's creating space? Look at what he's doing. You guys want to take these top positions? No, you're not. Get out of here. Take not only damage, but also look at how terrible your team's position is in comparison to your team. Or his team, excuse me. It's terrible. So he's done a much better job tanking, even if he didn't secure a kill here, because your team has been shoved into the locker. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And you had the opportunity to split and pull them apart from different directions, and you chose not to. Now, do you see what you just did here? It's exactly what we just talked about. Now, there's a little bit of concern here that your team may not be quite ready for this. I would probably go for this engage literally 1 second later than you did. 1, 2, now, right? But look at the space that you've created. Do you think your Torbjorn or Baptiste would have felt comfortable walking out of this choke without you jumping this way?
Probably not.
Even if you had bubbled here, you just would have been AoE punched, right? There would have been no surprise. So Mercy's around, Doomfist's around, cooldowns are being used. If you bubble dance this one a little bit better, I think you would have had even less damage taken in, right? So that's something to consider. But look at the space that your team has here. And so what do they do with that space? They have better sightlines. They have better sightlines. People die. It's that simple. You see?
There we go.
You were a more effective tank. You were a more effective tank this round. Or this fight, rather. Even this, right? Split the attention. It's good. Much better. Yeah, you're still getting destroyed. Oh, okay. Nice. Very nice.
Maybe a little greedy with the jump, but
Maybe a little greedy with the jump, right? Okay, let's chill. Wait for our bubble. Set up for next engage if you'd like to. Maybe you could jump that without bubble. You need to be careful, but I think it's okay. Now, you're creating space again because look what's happening. Look at the enemy team's visual. Look at their visuals. Look at the far Mercy. Look at the space that your team has. Look at the Lucio, right? Look at where it was a few seconds ago. And then by jumping the point, obviously you bubble off Doomfist a little there. But then jump the point. Mercy's looking at you. Yes, you've isolated this, but there's no Lucio follow-up anymore. And the pharmacy doesn't have as good of an angle anymore. And worse than that, now they got to worry about point. So Far is all the way out. Mercy's all the way out. Lucio's all the way out. So Doomfist dies. Because Doomfist is going in and has no help. Why? Because you're pulling all of those resources. Your setup is better. That's it. Nice landing. Squash. The Vax the paying off. Very satisfying. Okay. I would like to do something a little bit unorthodox. I would like to do some live coaching if you're interested.
I can try.
Let's jump to a game.
Okay. Let me pull up Overwatch.
Sure. And jump right into a ranked game.
Okay, and then I probably ought to share screen with you, right?
You got it.
Okay, let's see. Is it share your screen? There we go. That's the right button.
Make sure it's streaming Overwatch as well.
Overwatch 2. Go live. I think that's right.
Yep.
All, right,
all set.
Okay. There we go.
Let's jump in.
Which one?
Competitive. Oh, we're going all the way. We're going
Okay.
competitive. No second guessing here. Let's go. Oh, Plat. Brilliant. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Let's get in the practice range. Let's do custom games. Yeah. No point.
We might have 20 seconds, but
That's fine. We'll make the
Do
20
what we
seconds
can.
count. We'll get one good landing, surely.
surely.
Nice. So what I'm thinking is something like we practice your setups, and And then prior to your setup, as you're setting up, being aware of your team's position. Team's position, setup. Team position, setup. Like, let's do those two things at the same time, because I think you can do both of those things at the same time.
Okay.
And we'll not worry too much about mechanics or primal or bubble usage or whatever. Let's focus really, really hard on those things. Now, this is going to be a good one because there's not a lot of verticality with this one. At least it's inconsistent verticality, right? So you're going to have to use a little bit of creativity with your approach, pulling their attention away from your team, being a little less linear with your approach, kind of like getting behind them, using cover, looking for the right opportunity, and so on. And then obviously, because the map is so big, you got to be like, can my team follow up on anything? Remember, they don't have to follow up on your target. They just have to be able to shoot something, right?
Okay.
Okay. Torb, Hanzo, Mercy, Zen. Okay, not a lot of healing. You're going to have to be disciplined here, but there's a ton of damage. So if you could be disciplined with the amount of damage that you're taking, your DPS and supports are going to destroy the enemy tank. So you know they're going to lag behind, so maybe you can get here early and scout, but be cautious.
Reinhardt.
So check your team's positioning. Okay, where are we fighting? Where's our sightline? Okay.
They want to...
So no bubble, so be cautious. Good. Very good. So what's actually really funny is that engage was quite bad. Like, all you really did was bubble off a Reinhardt. Oh, GG's. All you did was bubble off a Reinhardt, which is like, that's not good. Like, you're not doing a lot of damage to that, and you had a lot more space to look for other options instead. But because your team was there, even though the engage itself was bad, because the timing was good, your team was able to destroy the Reinhardt in the meantime. Let's requeue quick. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
So I think you could have been a lot more creative there and clever with who you were jumping and where you were jumping, and created more space by threatening backline safely so that your team could focus Reinhardt. But your team was there to follow up. You weren't doing stuff by yourself, and so it ended up working out. Okay. So depending on how long this game goes, I maybe only be able to be here for the defense.
Okay.
But we will get maximum value out of the time that we're here. Any questions so far?
I don't know. How do you think I could have been more creative than just jumping the Reinhardt? Because my entire thought process was, my team wants to shoot the Reinhardt, so I'm going to make a Reinhardt Reinhardt has to choose. He either has to back up and respect the bubble, or he has to commit to shooting my team.
So your value is through forcing CDs and doing damage with your bubble. How much damage did you do out of that bubble?
However much it took to kill half an Ana.
Right, but that was your second engage.
I didn't do much with the first one then.
Right. So the question is could you have gotten more reward out of that bubble engage without necessarily taking a ton of damage? And I think the answer is yes. And if you want the answer, you go back in the replay viewer and you look at that first fight and you tell me what you should have done differently. Okay. Just that first fight. All right, so the team is here. You can hold here. What's your best engage? Where's the best way you can create space? A little angle here. Let them come in. Okay. Bubble's about to expire. Now, where's your engage? Who's your next target? Yeah, bubble again? What should you do? Yep. Good stuff. Now play your life here. You're pretty low. You're going to be able to re-engage this, so let's be deliberate about what you want to do. You have enough HP. Find something. Yep. Good. Nothing else available? Go for the Rhine. Totally fine. I love the check that you did there. Where's your team? Okay.
Coming.
You set up for your next engage. Brilliant work. Now what do you go for? Yes, nicely done. That's okay. It's okay. That was really good. That was really, really good. Notice how everything was very deliberate, you know? It's like speed chess, you know? You gotta quickly make a decision, but you take like the 2 or 3 seconds that you have to decide about where you need to set up and where you need to go. Good stuff.
Okay.
Okay, so you're down 2. So start thinking, where do I want to set up? Where's the enemy team going to be? How many people do they have on cart? How many people do they have on high ground? Where's your team? Was your team there to follow up off of that?
Nope. And that's why I got pressured out.
And that's why I got pressured out. And now you need to be there because your team is ready, but you don't have bubble yet. It's okay. So you immediately get punished for that mistake. If you had jumped literally 3 seconds later, your team was trying to walk up the stairs, they would have taken the space.
Too early again, just being impatient.
Just a little early, and you were early because you didn't check before the engage. That's why. You didn't have any information. Now, is your team ready now? Certainly looks like it, right? Let's go. Good. Next target? Your team's fighting? What's the next target? Yes. Very good. Nice. Okay. Check your team's position. Remember, this is the moment we talked about in paint. Is your Hanzo going to walk forward? Okay, he is walking forward, you see? So is this okay to fight here?
Yes. Oh.
It's okay. You could have jumped that one out. That's all right. It's important to note there that your team actually backed off of the Riptire and you didn't know it. You see that?
Yeah.
So you probably needed to back up even further because where you were was no longer good to fight. Touch, 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 touch. Just stay in card here. Don't overthink it. Nice. I think that's it. Okay. So looking at the cart, you tell me where's your team going to hold this?
They probably want to hold it around the cart.
So then how should you change? So you might want to stay here for now, but if they clear top, where would you go? Where will you go? Start to think ahead.
Probably the bus.
Maybe, yeah.
Cart.
Yeah. Because they're probably going to clear this top here. So you're going to have to do kind of like that Eichenwalde first defense, where you're going to have to play less about high ground and more about like corners and chokes. You need to give up the space. You need to give up the space. Oh, your Pharah pushed up with you. Beautiful. You can clean these guys up. Yep, it's fine. So they're back again, so you might need to disengage this. Where's your team? You see? So take that information.
I was being aggressive.
You were being too forward. It worked, but it was not a good decision. It only worked because your Pharah pushed up. No. So play the corner here. So now your team can help you. You see this? Yes. Look at this. Very good. You need to disengage if you need to. Oh, that's okay. Find something to zap. Good, 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 good. Huge. Nicely done. And you see how much follow-up there was off of that? So much damage from your Zen and your Pharah on that engage, because they just chilled. They just chilled. They're just playing Kovacs back there. They're playing Vaxta, you know what I'm saying? Good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so check your team speak.
That was me, though. That was Anna's nano that really saved me, though.
Yeah,
I disengaged probably earlier.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But at least you fought on that space. So where's your team? You see your Hanzo, but where's everyone else? Okay, so your Hanzo probably will and should back up. If he was to push up there, you let him die, because the majority of your team is behind. Where's my backline? Where's my backline? Where's my backline? Okay. Use that information. Use that information. Yep. Let him come. Let him come. Yep. Good. So your team can follow up of this, because they can see something. Even if it's just the Rhine shield. This one might be a little deep. So don't overextend here because it is just you now. Good. Let him come back out. Set up. Think, where's my next engage? Where do I want to go next? Oh, got her. Got her. Got her. Nice. Next target. Team is fighting on Ryan, so you got these guys. You zone off this guy. They've peeled back. Yeah, good stuff.
Oops.
That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. This is still clutchable. This is still clutchable.
Bonked.
That's okay. Do you see how your team's positioning dictates your positioning? So if you...
So.
There is no such thing as an objectively good Winston position. You have to look at it within the context of where are we fighting.
Okay.
Good stuff. Very, very, very productive defense. I know there's a lot of information coming in right now, but you're doing a great job.
Thanks.
Okay. So where are we fighting? So where should you be? Looks like pretty close here. All right, looks like we're fighting. We're trading. It's okay. Pop Bastion form. Let's chill, let's chill, let's chill. You see what you did? You isolated Ryan. It wasn't even the best of engages, but you set up. Reaper's going in. You go in too. Good. Now look at your team. You disengage. Very good. Now, it looks like your team is getting a little bit more aggressive here. They're willing to hold more close. So, yes. Check your team once more, just to be sure. Yep. Bastion and penned, and it still works because you timed your engage perfectly. You see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That had no business working. You got pinned into a Bastion turret form. But because your Ana and Zenyatta and Reaper were just dumping damage in, and because your Ana had LOS Dynana you, it didn't matter how many resources they poured into you. You didn't even die. You didn't even die, right? The Bastion just melted. The Ryan just melted. That's exactly what we're talking about. That's why your team follow-up is so important. And you see how I'm always putting responsibility on you, not your team.
Mm-hmm.
Great job. Really, really, really well done.
Thank you.
I think both this and first fight and the previous Runasapi, you can skip around and try to find fights that felt a little messy and see if, okay, what was my engage like? Was I aware of my team's position? Was there a better setup? See if you can score some points for yourself. This is where you can self-VOD review and get a lot of value out of it.
Okay.
You don't even need to be like, okay, this is objectively the best engage, but just ask yourself the question of like, oh, was that better? Was that better? What about that? If you're not sure of the answer, it's okay. Let me tell the next session we're running just a few minutes over.
Okay.
I want to stick around for one or two more team fights, if I can.
Okay.
Any questions so far?
I was kind of confused on that last little bend of point 3 that we were fighting on.
Yep.
I was Tracer and one of their sports, Kiriko, wanted to take that high ground, and I wasn't doing a very good job of defending it.
Well, the question is could you defend it? Was your team fighting anything at the same time?
No, they weren't.
Is your team fighting?
No, I was on autopilot.
That's okay. You're on autopilot because you're asking a question. It's normal. Okay. Don't stagger. Get set up. And it looks like this team really wants to hold that choke. So you better be ready for some smart setups here. Okay. When is your team fighting? Where and where you should go in. Check your team and engage. Let's go.
Did that a little bit backwards.
That's okay. They're peeling back. There's space. Disengage. Unfortunate, but look at what happened in the kill feed. You were down 1, and they killed the Ashe. So you could have done this one a little bit better with your bubble dancing. I think you took too much damage, but your team still capitalized off of the space. Did you notice that?
I think so.
Okay. You played it poorly and still got traded while down 1.
Seems to be the theme. Play it poorly, but still managed to work.
Well, that's the thing, is you don't need to play perfectly, right? You made a good decision even if you executed on it poorly. You're down 1 here, so I would just be really patient. See if they come back. This actually might be perfect, because this will be perfect just in time for my next session, so... See if they overextend or get impatient. If they do, you can punish. Okay, let's look for something that maybe you can punish that. Okay. Go and disengage. They are going to push you here, I think. All right, let's make this happen. We've got a primal. I know we're down 1, but we're just practicing here. So okay. Is your team fighting? Let's go. Let's make it pretty.
Oops.
It's okay. I want both these supports dead. Ooh, that was nano too. Let's go. Vaxta, let's go. You've trained all your life for this. That was good. That was good. She should die. Yeah. Next target. Be decisive. So you see what happened? You didn't chess it. You rushed it. I think that Reaper was killable. But you didn't look for him. You just jumped Ryan. First thing you saw. You see that?
Okay.
Okay. Leave the game. Leave the game. There's no point sticking around. It's a 4v5. Okay. Don't waste your time. Be efficient with your time. Okay. So, let's take some notes. And let's wrap this up. Winston, what are some skills that you need to practice?
Looking at where my team is.
When?
And then judging my engages off of it.
When do you check your team's positioning?
Anytime I can. Whenever.
Anytime you can? Yeah. Specifically, though, pre-engage.
Okay. So don't engage until I look and see where my team is.
Right. Well, at least at the start. Like, just for you to educate when and where to play. How does that look? I just typed something in your channel. Do you see that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Set up and engage on squishies from an angle, flank, or high ground when possible. Anything else that needs to be practiced? Those are the big ones. Check your team's positioning, set up. What else?
No, figure out when to disengage.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was playing team fights for too long.
Okay, elaborate.
I was, like in the Stairway of Second, I was hard focusing both supports.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't looking at where my team was.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know that we weren't pushing this and that I was being too aggressive for too long.
Mm-hmm. Recheck team's positioning. Primal equals good engage and then doing extra. Any questions?
No, I think that helps.
Okay. I want you to do your homework if you can. If you have the time, as soon as this session's done, I want you to go back, watch First Fight Runesapi, and then I want you to watch first and third defense on Midtown.
Okay.
And I want you to just look at your setups and your engages and tell me. And you can tell me. You can write, or you could just take notes yourself, mental notes. You know, what I need to do, because I think you will know exactly what you should have done, or even just a couple of different options, because there's always going to be a couple of options. Give yourself at least a few. Okay.
Okay.